Hello, and welcome to another episode of STS live stream.
Yeah,
uh,
good intro.
this is episode 7 now.
Yeah,
Episode 7, where me and Andy are working together to model a 3D model in Maya. Brain's not working today.
That's correct.
So yeah, we've been working on this moose bumper or rhubarb or grill guard, whatever you guys call it. Andy, you want to show us what you got so far?
Exactly. This is the progress we've been making so far on these streams. It's been in the final stage of completion for 3 streams now.
Yeah.
So we'll try to finish it today, but again, no promises. Today we just have to do our little blinker texture here on the side. And last time we started doing that in Substance Painter. So we'll be breaking down the texturing process again. We'll be picking off where we left off last stream. If you remember, we decided to go for a bit of a handmade approach, just so that I can show some techniques and interesting ways that we use Painter internally. So yeah, today we have to do these rings on the light, give it a little bit more depth, a little bit more detail. And depending how much time we have, we can maybe also give a shot at making a lamp mask out of it. So, yeah.
I think you can get it all done today.
Speedrun?
I have confidence.
Let's try.
But not too fast, because we need to see what keys you're pressing and what you're doing on screen here.
Okay. It's asking the impossible, but we'll do our best shot. Yeah. So last time we made our 4 layers. We have our base. We have our normal map. We have a little bit of a depth thing going. And then we have the ambient occlusion baked into our base color. So now next thing I want to do is do the rings. And after that, we'll see what else to do to kind of spice it up. So we can make a new layer. I always like to start with a fill layer. On this one, we don't really need color. We just need a height. And I'll be first generating a normal map for these rings, and then we're gonna do a little trick. We're gonna transfer the normal map to the base color, actually. So it will look like it's indented, but it's actually going to be flat in the normals.
Interesting.
Yeah, so call it, I guess, rings. Probably will need a folder for it because we will maybe have more.
Okay.
So yeah, just...
And that's just purely for organizational, or does it have
Yeah,
something
exactly.
to do with the hierarchy of how things are?
Well, yeah, because it's a layer system.
Right.
Everything that's at the bottom is basically below. So things that are above will cover things underneath. So, if, for example, this AO channel is at the top, but if we put it to the bottom, now the base layer is actually hiding it.
Ah, I see.
So
okay,
it's both.
okay.
It's both hierarchy and it's both organization, because you have to keep in mind we work in a studio with many different artists, and sometimes in the future, maybe someone else will have to pick up where I left off. People get assigned different projects all the time, and being able to open a working scene and it's nice and organized is always a benefit.
Makes sense.
So we try to keep things clean for everybody, basically.
Pararail Netherland says that it looks like a baked egg right now, and I don't quite disagree.
A baked...
Like it looks like an egg yolk, like a sunny side up egg.
Yeah, I can see it. It's not wrong. It's typically in the starting phases of a texture. It looks quite plain, but as you go along, things add up. So we need more circles. So we're just going to use masks to generate this. We can use this ring. I'm going to just project it. This triplanar is the easiest. And we don't want it to repeat. Oh, my bad. Should be this. Nope. Shape triplanar projection. Yeah, my brain's also not working today.
I was going to say, what are you doing over there, buddy?
No, we can use planar, and yeah, we don't want repeating. Exactly.
Okay.
There we go. Because if we have the repeating on, it's basically a tileable texture.
Right.
And we don't need it.
Makes sense.
So, yeah. I'm just going to scale this to how it makes sense, and then just play with these settings that are given to us default from this particular mask. So we can get the scale of the ring looking how we want. We could count and be accurate. So that's one.
Nah, let's just go with what looks
exactly.
good.
I would do the same because otherwise it's too much. And we're just going to scale it nicely to fit like that, and then I'll just duplicate these. And I mean, there's many different ways of doing this. You can generate the one ring mask directly in Photoshop and then just import it. But in this case, I'll just be using multiple ones. There's no right or wrong when you're doing this kind of work. It's just whatever you prefer, honestly.
Okay.
And maybe we can add a little bit of a blur to it to kind of give it a nicer effect.
Yeah, that looks better.
Maybe it's too strong, so we can push it down a little bit. We can always go back and edit it, but
Right.
since I'll be duplicating this, I kind of want to get it right the first time. We could also give it some color. Maybe something a little, like, let's say, darker-ish. And then I'll just set the layer blending to multiply instead. Should be on this one as well. Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
And then while we have the base color selection here, we can also adjust the opacity. So basically, I'll show you what that does. Because when it's set to multiply, it will take the value of the color channel and
Right.
multiply it with the layers below.
Okay.
And then if we adjust the opacity, it's basically like you're adjusting the multiplication strength in a way,
Right. Right.
if you think about it.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So nothing too strong. I kind of want a subtle effect. I don't want it to be too pronounced. Maybe we have too much blur. So I'm going to scale it down a little.
Mark Verstappen, is this making a texture or a 3D effect? But it's adding a 3D effect onto the texture.
Yeah, it's called normal mapping. Basically, if you remember in previous episodes, we were adjusting vertex normals, which basically meant we were telling the vertices how to reflect the light. Well, the texture via the normal map can do the same. And in this case, it's more detailed because we're using pixels instead of vertices. So we're keeping the poly count low, but we're still kind of getting a bumpy effect on it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just going to duplicate this. This is quite a dirty way of doing this, I would say, just because kind of racing against the clock in a way. I would.
Whoa, no pressure, no pressure.
Yeah.
A little pressure, but no pressure.
I would typically make the mask itself in Photoshop and just apply it directly. But this can also work. It's just a little bit more tedious, I would say. So yeah, we can do that. Just duplicate these rings a few times. And scale the mask how we want it. We have to be mindful because every time we scale it down, the thickness of the rings will shrink.
Ah, right, right. So you can't just copy and paste. You got to make sure the thickness is still.
Yeah, just kind of eyeball it.
Okay.
I think this one is a little too thick though. So we can just, be 0.05. We can go via steps. And this one is fine at 6, I think.
Air Cruise is asking if we copy and paste all this stuff for the other side of the bumper. And basically, yes, we do the mirroring, right?
You mean like from here to here?
Yeah.
Well, the texture itself will already be generated. And when we assign the texture to a material and then assign the material to a mesh, it's basically like you're linking things. Think of it like pointers. You have objects in the scene which are referencing existing things in the directory. So this light, no matter if it's on the left or right side, will always point to the same one texture file. So you don't have to make it multiple times. You just make the same texture once, and then it's kind of like being instanced over and over.
And to answer Vark Verstappen, This is basically faking it. The more, if we were to like model all these rings individually, the amount of polys that would add, and therefore the toll it would take on your frame rate would be,
It'd be astronomical.
it'd be not worth it
Exactly.
for something, especially something like this. You would barely even see, just because of how small it's going to be.
Exactly. That's why we do it through the texture. Just want to make sure that they look evenly spaced and convincing.
Are you just eyeballing it? Like you're not doing any kind of measurement at all?
Yeah. Because it's going to be quite small, and then we'll lower the resolution in the end.
Okay.
So it's not really worth it to put so much time into making it so precise.
Makes sense.
We want it to look convincing, no doubt, but it doesn't have to be like a CAD precision type of thing.
Right.
So, yeah. As I said, there's definitely a smarter way of doing it. But it might take me another stream just to generate this kind of mask. So for me right now, doing this is a little easier.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah. So we'll add a few more rings, and then we see that we have a little bit of a space, and then there's one big kind of bulb-looking thing here. It's like a bulge. So that would be central. But we can use the same mask that we have and just play with it.
Yeah, because we had that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
You get the radius on it,
Yeah.
the different effects. So
True.
and we can extrude it a little more than the rings. And then,
I think like 1 or 2 more rings should do it,
yeah,
right?
I think so too. We don't need to overkill, because you also have to keep in mind what the final texture resolution will be. A lot of this detail might get lost when we go to, like, for now we're in 2K by 1K, but I would do like 256 by 128 maybe for the final light. So a
Right.
lot of this detail will get lost. Like, we can maybe show an example. Go to 256 by 128. That's what it would look like in the end. Kind of pixelated, but because you're never going to see it this close in the game, right? So we're kind of
Right.
optimizing for this sort of view distance.
Makes sense.
So, yeah, it's just easier on the memory. But when I'm working, I like to work in a higher resolution. Helps me to visualize. All right. Yeah, can do one more ring. And then we can do the bulge. It's called a Fresnel lens. Okay, learn something new. Yeah. So we have our rings there. That's the effect they give us. Currently, we have it in the height map, so you're getting this effect. But I think in actuality, this is actually covered by a plastic lens, right? So you wouldn't actually see this kind of extrusion effect on the final model.
Yeah, this actually is the plastic lens. The plastic lens has the grooves on it.
Oh, so it would be on the normal map.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but we're still going to finally put it in the base color texture. And you can kind of see that the light is behaving similarly as in the reference image.
Mm-hmm.
You see it kind of has this
Yeah.
windmill effect,
Yeah.
similar to what we're seeing here. So,
Cool.
yeah, that's the normal map.
To answer
doing
the truck
its-
sim dude, we're using Maya, but it's more or less the same stuff with Blender. It's just a different program, so not everything is identical, especially not like the keys and the tools and all that. But for this stuff, this is in Blender, this sort of thing, right? It's just
This
these are
is
our-
in a separate program called Substance Painter.
oh, this is Substance Painter.
Yeah, this
Oh.
is specifically for making textures.
Well, I take back everything I said.
And Substance is the industry standard for this type of thing,
Okay.
because it's so easy and fun to use. Like I was saying last stream, it just gives you so many possibilities of iterating, which you don't get with traditional texturing tools, because it's kind of like painting over something, and if
Right.
you mess up, you have to repaint it basically. So this is more, as you can see, like it's parametric. You're
Right.
playing around with parameters and adjusting things on the fly. So now we got to do the bulb. We're going to extrude it a little more. Maybe it's a little smaller. Something like that. And I definitely don't want too much multiplication on it. Maybe we can create a folder for this. Just set this back to, yeah. Because I want the edges to be a little shinier. You can see that there's maybe some more detail in it.
I think it's just hollow in the middle.
Yeah.
I think it's just a
I
thick
think we
ring
can
as
do
opposed to a
it-
nub.
Yeah, I think we can easily do that. Like if we do something like this. And then we can maybe give it an in circle.
No, I think it's just a hollow in the middle.
Like completely?
Yeah.
Okay. That's easy. So something like this.
Yeah, that's more or less it.
Okay.
But I'm wondering if maybe there should be one more ring and that nub should be
Yeah.
slightly smaller.
Yeah, we could do that easily.
Sorry, I'm messing with your speed run here.
Nah, it's fine.
Yeah, the keys that you're seeing on the left there, that's what Andy is pressing at any given time. He's being quite abusive to the keyboard.
It's not abusive. It's a little bit of a toxic relationship, though.
I
Maybe.
think that inner ring looks like smaller and
Focus.
closer than the other one. Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on. This one.
Yeah, more
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. I'll
A
do
little
and then
thicker.
exactly.
There you go.
Maybe a little thicker. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty much the key to speedrunning this is like knowing all the shortcuts and knowing all the keys to press and all that. If you try to do it individually, it's quite different.
Well, it's different when it's your day job and you do
Mm.
this day in and out.
That's true too.
Yeah. Okay, so now I got the bulb. We want to just add a little bit more coloration to this. So I'll disable the height on this channel and only work with the color. Maybe I'll sample something. I like bright colors. It's always nice when things are bright. So we can do something like that. And just play with the multiplication of it. Maybe I'll take it out. We don't need this folder, I believe, because it's just messing with our hierarchy. And we're gonna set this to normal for now. And we just want to play with the mask a little. We kind of want an outer glow maybe. In the circle. Maybe we can also do something like that to make it shiny. Kind of simulating a beveled edge of sorts. And now I can just play with the intensity of that effect. We can also go a step further. We can add some filters to it. Maybe give it a little bit more of a bevel effect. Let's just see how that looks. Sometimes it looks bad, like in this case, but you try to experiment and see what can work and what can't. So I don't really like it in this case. I think I'm just going to keep the blur and keep it kind of soft. Maybe it's a bit much. Yeah, we just want a very subtle kind of glow there. Okay. Maybe I will...
But that shouldn't be on all the rings, just on that one?
Yeah, we could do that on the rings as well. But we'll do it a different way.
Okay.
Just trying to get this effect going. Yeah, it would be nice to add it to all the rings because then it will look more convincing. Okay, so we got the rings, we got the bulb. Now I need to use the normal map that we just created as a mask. So I'm just going to export textures. We don't need this one. We just need the lights, and we don't need the base color. We just need the normal PNGs. It should be 8 bits by default. I don't know. It's okay. To export it, and just check if it's inverted or not. It's very sudden. Okay. Oh, something's wrong. Hold on. Don't need the heights. Why is it not generating anything? It shouldn't be
So
blank.
it shouldn't be blank.
No.
Oh.
It should now. We should be seeing the rings on it.
Well, Andy deals with these technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Chat, tell me, what do you think of the bumper so far, and what would you be interested in seeing in the future from us, and some kind of developer stream? I was trying to think of something cool way to say it, but it's just developer stream, modeling stream, future modeling stream, or something else.
People want to see
Let
a
us know in the
map,
chat.
a map one. Yeah, map design streams. I think that would be really relaxing. That one wins every time.
Hmm.
Every time.
Is that what it's supposed to look
Wrong.
like?
No.
Oh.
No, it's supposed to look like. Look at normal. It's not okay. Normal height measure. That's what it's supposed to look like.
Benny, can you ban kappa_d?
That's rude. Yeah, our output should look like this. I'm not sure why we can't export anything correctly. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, someone mentioned modeling the interior of a truck.
That's 6 months. Well, not 6 months, but like at least 3 months.
It's quite tedious too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, we can't show CADs on stream.
This is true. Is it harder or easier than an exterior?
I prefer exteriors personally.
Yeah.
Just because it's more interesting shapes and curves.
Right.
Like nobody's excited about plastic interior door panels. At least not me.
Okay.
The same way that I would be modeling a actual car exterior or something, you know, it's
True.
But I think there are people who prefer interior for sure.
Yeah, we have people in the company, they kind of find their way into certain roles, right?
Yeah.
The poor Anton's been doing nothing but cargos for a year and a half.
Yeah, some people
Yeah.
just find their niche and stick to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the guys that are working on the playable vehicles, they will alternate one. Sometime they'll do an interior, then they'll do an exterior. Sometimes they'll
Right.
do both. It's not like we have people just for interiors and exteriors. But it's a little bit of a different approach in how you make it. Okay, I'm gonna try again. Hopefully it works. Let's export everything. Why not? Okay, now we got something. Yeah, there we go. That's
Okay.
what it's supposed to look like.
And why the purple? That's just like default?
It's just XYZ values.
Okay.
Even if I explain, you're not gonna get it.
Okay. All right. All right.
Basically, it's a vector where each channel XYZ is represented by the color channel RGB. So it's a 0 to 1 range where it's basically an angle. You know what a vector is, right? It's an angle of direction It's telling the light how to
Yeah.
bounce. So when you look at this, it's kind of got a 3D effect. You can kind of visualize what it's doing.
Right.
If you think of how the light would hit this, and let's say it hits this pixel, it would bounce to the left.
Okay.
Or if it hits this pixel, it would bounce to the right.
All right. All
Or
right.
if it
Makes
hits
sense.
this one, it would bounce directly back to you.
Yes.
So that's what it represents. But we're interested in using this as a mask. So I'm just going to import it back to my project as a texture just in this project. And we're going to import it. And now we have our light texture map. And I'm going to make a new fill layer, call it normal to base. And I'm going to put my normal map in the base color slot. And now it's looking all purple, but we don't really want that. We're going to add a filter to it, HSL perceptive. I'm going to desaturate it. And then on the channel itself, I'm going to set the blending mode, to soft light or hard light, depending on what kind of effect I want. So maybe hard light is a little bit more. It's even got the reflection in there, which maybe we don't want. Maybe soft light is better. I don't know what you guys think.
What do we typically use?
It depends on the effect I'm going for. Maybe in this case, hard light would be nice because it's kind of more true to the reference.
Well, I would say like
it's got a nice fake reflection to it.
the one thing is it should always somewhat match the other lights on the truck, right? Because if you have some that are one way and some the other way,
Yeah.
it can look a little bit goofy, right?
No, I understand that.
Yeah. And if you guys are tuning in for the first time, we're currently making marker lights for the moose bumper that we've been working on creating for the last 6 streams. If you want to catch those other episodes, you can find them on Twitch and on YouTube. So you can go right from the beginning there at episode 1 where we blocked out the bumper and yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I decided on going with the hard light blending mode. But again, if we don't like it later, we can always come back here and change it. And just play with the opacity on it a little bit. So you see now we're only looking at the base color, but it's already got that kind of 3D effect on it.
Mm-hmm. And how do we make it light up?
That's a lamp mask. That's a separate texture that we will generate from the texture itself.
And we're going to do that today?
Yeah, we can.
Nice.
I think we have enough time.
Cool.
For the back, I would just duplicate this in Photoshop and overlay it on the UVs there and just use a HSL filter to change the hue, basically.
And change the color to red?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I said.
Oh, I didn't hear you say that.
I said hue.
Oh.
Which is a fancy word for altering the color of something.
Okay, Mr. Smarty Pants.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Okay.
I'm going to alter the hue.
Just want to look at it one more time and see what else may be missing here. Maybe we could add a little bit more color to it because right now we only have 2 shades of orange.
It does look a little washed out too,
Exactly.
though, doesn't it? The
Yeah.
orange? Yeah.
I think this is giving it the washed out effect.
Mm.
So maybe what we could do to unwash it. Yeah, that's giving it. So maybe we'll just go soft light because it doesn't have that washed out look as much.
True.
Check it in the main one. But yeah, I definitely want to throw a little bit of gold in there. So maybe we can use. How do we want to approach it? Just thinking what kind of layers or filters or even masks I could use. Gonna get this glowing effect. But that's mainly because of the reflection, basically. So
Right.
we don't want to overly fake the reflection. We want it to be natural, and also keep in mind that in the actual game we have reflection cube maps, so that will also affect how it looks.
And we don't have to do anything. Those are like somehow added automatically.
They're part of the
or-
material system,
Okay.
so they're automatic, pretty much. Maybe we can use this one to just kind of give it some more coloration if we copy this and use a different If we used an overlay, just something like this instead, and play again with the opacity. So you can see that's adding a little bit more coloration in there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a little bit too much.
Yeah, I think
Play
that's
with it.
good.
Saturation was fine. You can also play with the lightness of it, but I think it's fine. Yeah. So I'll just call this, I don't know. So that's basically how we would handcraft the texture with custom masks. It's got a nice little reflection effect going. And now even if we got rid of the rings, we've basically baked the information into the base color from that normal map. So you can see.
The center one looks so aggressive without the rings, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we'll keep it. Maybe the rings are a little too much, though. I will scale the multiply down on them. Same on this one. You can just match it. I think that looks a little better. Yeah, so if we're happy with our texture, we can export it. In this case, we should scale it down first to 256 by 128. And we will export a TGA because that's what we use in our game.
That's just the file format?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bless you. So we need the base color. We don't need metallic. We need normal. We don't need height. And we don't need emissive. And we can export it here. Keep that. And now we can just open our base color in Photoshop to check. Right. And if we wanted to make this here, yeah, no, thank you. Exactly. We just copy this. It's all different to my setup. Artboard tool. Okay, that's new. Just need to select. I love it when I open a program I use every day and it's completely different. There we go.
You need to update yours on your PC.
Yeah, I still use the old version.
Do you really?
Yeah, because otherwise things like this happen. I just need a move tool. Where did they move it?
Luddite.
Where move tool? Yeah, I'm becoming a boomer
You are.
for technology.
Yeah.
I really hate stuff nowadays. It's
You guys should see the car he got. Doesn't even have power windows.
Dude, I don't even have AC on it. Thank you, Benny.
Benny saved us.
Yeah. So I would just duplicate and move this texture here. And then, well, I would have liked it to, yeah. Let's call this one orange. Let's call this one amber. You refer to it, right?
Wait. The back side?
Yeah.
Back side is red.
Okay.
Front side is amber. But you can call it orange. It's fine.
So on the orange, we want to delete the amber. Come on. And on the red, we want to delete the orange, basically. There we go. So we got two sides here, except now we want the red to actually be red.
That would be helpful, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is this?
Andy's car came with AC, but he deleted it.
No, I didn't. The previous owner decided he wanted a radiator on it that's twice the size of the OEM one. So he ripped apart the AC compressor and the AC radiator.
This is true. I've seen it.
Yeah. So far, I haven't had a need for AC, but it hasn't been summer yet. So
Yeah, really, we had our first hot day kind of like yesterday, right? It was quite. Actually, it
it
wasn't that bad yesterday.
22
Yeah.
degrees.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
I mean, after all winter, it felt
Yeah.
quite warm.
Just gonna change the hue till it makes sense. Something like this. Okay. Now we can also save this, because if the color is wrong, I can always go back and just tweak the settings.
Arrow's Realm knows you very well. He says you don't need AC. Music on hard metal, all windows open and cruising.
Yeah. He knows me. I've been mostly spamming alternative rock lately.
That's such a broad term. Like
It's
you
yeah.
can't just say alternative rock. You gotta say
it's-
what kind of alternative rock. Were you listening to Smash Mouth?
No, more
Okay.
recent bands. I've been listening to this relatively new band called James and the Cold Gun. They're really good.
It sounds indie.
No, it's like they mix classic rock with grunge,
Mm.
which is really fun.
But just like the name sounds like, a guy with an acoustic guitar and a girl with ukulele.
Yeah,
And they're
I think it's a reference to some song from the 60s.
Oh, okay.
And if your car makes a weird noise, just turn up the volume. Yeah. Yeah.
That man drives a Jeep.
Yeah. Okay. So we saved our project here. But now I'm just going to save a copy of it as maybe just light underscore diff spec. SPNG, not SPNG, my bad, as Targa. And we want 32 in there because we also, I forgot to put the roughness, which we don't actually have. Okay, we're just going to ignore the roughness for now.
What? Hold on. What?
That's like the specularity, but we can control it from the shader itself. I don't even think we need, because it's all just one type of reflective thing. Yeah. So now if we go back to Maya, I think we need to generate a TGB for it. TOBJ, my bad. By type, we have our light here. We need this thing. Messed up the name.
Speaking of music, how's your band doing, Andy?
Doing well.
You
Working
guys-
on a new song.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You guys still meeting every weekend?
Yeah.
Nice.
We do. There we go. We need this TOBJ because otherwise the material system won't know what to look for. So we just need to open our hub now. Go to our light, and in the diff spec, not edit, my bad. We need to import this. It's a new system. It works with the TOBJs instead of the textures. So what?
What is it, my dude?
Just confused. Okay. Why is my texture not showing up? Let's debug. So we have our light texture, which is this one. We have the TOBJ, yeah. On the light. This one. But it's not working. Interesting. Maybe it's the wrong shader, but it shouldn't be.
Did you put gold in there?
What do you mean? In the texture?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it looks like now.
Oh. BF. BTTTF Marty is asking if you put gold in. Because you said you were going to.
It's a little bit brighter. We can always go back and adjust.
We don't have to. It's just he thought you said that.
I think. Sorry, this is the.
Oh.
It's not quite gold. I guess it's more yellowish.
Oh,
in there,
okay.
If you can consider, it's kind of gold. Like a desaturated gold. So it's got a little bit overlaid with quite a soft opacity. I'm wondering is why I can't import this to. This shouldn't be happening. Let's try different shader family. Maybe just a diff spec. But even that is not showing anything. That's very, very strange. On the lights, it's not working at all.
I think I did you dirty by asking you to add lights on this bumper.
Yeah, I think so too. No, but it shouldn't be, because on everything else we can import it, no problem. Oh, I think I know why. No, but we have it as an underscore. Yeah, because sometimes the file path can't have a space in it, but we don't have a space in it. So
Okay.
this doesn't make any sense at all.
Fresnel lens.
Fresnel. It's called Fresnel.
You wrote Fresnel.
Yeah, and you pronounce Fresnel.
Sounds French. What's the point of it? So chat,
The sampler.
how you guys doing?
Doesn't make any sense.
I'm doing good. Last stream for 6 weeks, 7 weeks.
Doesn't exist.
And for you as well, Benny, right? For like maybe even longer than that. We're gonna be busy. Busy. Andy, are you gonna come here and do a stream with Peter?
Watch me drive on stream.
No, like to finish up this bumper that's clearly not gonna get done today.
Yeah, I thought we wanted to do it with Namiro as well, or I don't know what the plan is, but we could also.
Well, Namiro's also gonna be gone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, me and Peter can have a crank at it, no problem. So TOBJs aren't even recognized here for some reason.
They're asking for more leaks. Andy, you got anything?
No, I'm not gonna end up on AP 101 again. Shout out to AP 101.
This video is sponsored by.
Exactly. Okay. Go to our hub. A light. Yeah, we have the TOBJs there. We can maybe look at it with a notepad. Yeah. So it's correctly set up. And I'm not sure why we cannot. I think we need to consult the programmers on this, but typically that's just how we do it. We have the TOBJ and then you link it in the hub. And it should work, but it's red, so it's not recognizing it. So I can't load my texture onto the scene.
So what does it say in the bottom right there? Error. What now?
Yeah, let's look at it and see. He's not found. Cannot be translated to sysfs. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to have a chat with one of our tools programmers for the next stream to figure this out.
Mads1153 says that he thinks the rest of the notepad tabs should be closed.
Yeah, I already did that.
You did that?
Yeah, I did that.
So thank you for joining us today.
There's your leaks for today. Maybe we can quickly go over how we make a lamp mask for it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, so since both of them will be the same, we can just do it here in the same project. So just create a folder, call it lamp mask. And I'll just take the orange layer and disable these just because they will be confusing otherwise. And we can only do it on the half point of it and just make a new UV set for the lamp mask itself.
Okay.
So here we first just need to desaturate this clipping mask because we want it black and white. The lamp effect is always a grayscale
Oh, okay.
because it basically 0 would be dark and 1 would be light, and everything in between is kind of how it
Okay.
works. So I'm just going to merge these down into one and call it base. And we can multiply it twice, so we can have one base and just to keep it there. And we need a levels on this. So I'll go to our adjustments and add a levels with a clipping mask. I just want to constrict this range. This is basically the entirety of the light without the actual bulb. We can
Right.
add it in later. We can kind of play with the kind of effect we want with it. So I kind of want this to be subtle. I think we usually do like a 0 to 178 range for the base, and then this part of the range will be our actual bulb.
Okay.
So for that, we can create another layer. I think we can just use this one, call it bulb. And on this bulb, I just want this basically, so we can have an elliptical marquee tool and kind of just do that. And then I'll invert the selection, delete the rest. And again, we can put a levels on this. And I kind of want it to be quite bright. Something like that. Okay, then we can have a filter here. Want a Gaussian blur. But actually we can duplicate this. Maybe let's merge them first. Then we can also have another levels on it later. Call it bulb again. And maybe underneath it we can have a bulb blur, if I can spell correctly. And then on the blur layer, we can add a strong blur to kind of give it the kind of lighting effect.
Okay.
Just choose the right amount of blur. So maybe 14. And then on this one, I'll do a light blur because I kind of want to just get rid of the...
The hard edge.
exactly.
Yeah. What's the reason to make one full texture instead of a quarter of a circle and reuse that 4 times?
You can. But that would actually mess with the normal map.
Ah, okay.
You can't sample it like that.
Mm.
You can do it for the base color channel. But that's a little bit too crazy because now you're getting into territory where it's hard to work with something. And there is such a thing as too much optimization, I would say. Like you obviously want to make it make sense. But you also don't want to over optimize because it comes to a point where it's just hard to work with things. You have to keep in mind that some artists after me might have to do some tweaks to it or adjust it or reuse it elsewhere. So that also factors into it. Right. So maybe we can kind of want to do a trick here where we're going to use this thing that we made before. And we're going to do a similar trick as we did in Painter. I'm going to desaturate it. And just merge it. It should definitely come under the bulb. Or maybe we'll play around with the positioning. And we could just play with the blending mode again to kind of give those edges some more bright shine. Like if you think how when the light would light up the little circles
Right.
would reflect the light all around.
Okay.
So and I'm gonna add another levels to this so I can play around with the effect of it. I don't want it to be too, something like that might be nice. Again, I would need to check it in the game and do necessary adjustments, but you can see the kind of effect that's giving me with and without it. So if you want it brighter or less bright, you can play around with it. Maybe we can play with the blend mode. I think overlay and hard light look the same. How about this one is a little overkill? But maybe something like that could also work, and then we just play with the levels. It's making it a little too dark.
Yeah.
So I kind of like how it was on the hard light. Yeah, so we can keep it like this. And again, you can always play with the opacity of the effect. Maybe we'll leave it to like 80%. Right, so that's how we would make a lamp mask from the generated textures. Maybe this should be bigger and brighter. We can always maybe add a bevel to it to make it bigger, or we could go back to our texture and just sample a larger circle diameter, whatever. But those are just fine tweaks that you do once you get the model in the game, because you need to check under different like daytime and nighttime conditions how it will behave. So typically that's how I do the process.
Makes sense.
But that's the basics setup of a lamp mask. It's just a grayscale channel that tells the luminance intensity, basically.
Right.
Like at what point would be softer or lighter. And the reason we split it up to layers like this is because, as I said, you oftentimes really need to do an adjustment, check it in the game, go back to the texture, and just tweak some values to get it to look right. So that's how I've done a lot of the lights on some of the recent trucks that have been released. So
cool.
Yeah. I think for next stream, I will try to have this solved. My apologies that we have some technical issues with it. I don't really know the reason for it, but I'll have some of the tools programmers come and check for us so we can actually get this texture.
It's just an issue on this PC, because normally we don't use this PC for
exactly. Yeah,
modeling.
on my working PC, I don't have this problem. So it's either something with the setup, or maybe I'm lacking some script or something. Yeah, I don't want to spend the whole stream debugging it, but hopefully for next time it should work. But
so you think 4 more streams we'll have it done?
At this rate.
Yeah. Well, we got 6.5 minutes. How's things, Andy?
Things are great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I heard your car's going back in for service.
Oh, yeah, that's just normal.
Yeah. You've been hanging out with Benny too much, man. You guys are always fixing your cars.
The Benny curse.
See, I never have to fix my car.
Yeah. Mark Verstappen's asking what's the problem? Something with the texture not appearing. It's just our new UMAT system where we reference the TOBJ, and it's just not recognizing them, so I can't. I don't know why on this PC it's not hooked up correctly, but yeah, we'll try to get it to work next time. But yeah, maybe we can answer some questions if you guys have about how we work here.
Yeah.
Or if you maybe not about the projects we're working on. But if you guys want to know something, I guess that's probably the perfect time to ask now. Because typically when I'm doing these streams, I don't pay too much attention to the chat.
How could you leave them out there in the dark?
It's difficult to do everything.
Don't worry, I keep an eye on them.
I know.
I make sure they're staying in line.
What time do you start? That's in the morning. It's like typical 9 to 5. Favorite release projects? For me, LT S13 probably.
Yeah, LT turned out pretty good.
Yeah, it did. I really loved the interior. The seats especially turned out really nice. This must be a sedentary job. How do you guys keep fit? We have an in-house gym.
Some of us keep more fit than others.
Yeah. I go there 4 or 5 times per week.
Benny, how many times you been?
how do you make sure the models
Toys?
you make aren't too heavy for potato machines? Yeah, so we use
Jim.
some of the optimization techniques that I was discussing throughout these streams. We try to keep the poly count as low as possible. We have our own STS artist tools here that allow us to kind of smooth and flatten some normals to make things look more rounded and smooth than they actually are. And then, as you can see, we use a lot of tricks in our texturing process to keep things small, only use the space that's necessary. So we do pay a lot of attention on optimization. Yeah. Is it Monday to Friday scheduling? Yeah, it's just a typical 9 to 5, 40-hour per week.
Yeah, we have flexible working hours here at
Yeah, we
SES.
do.
So
We
you
do.
have to be in the office from 10 till 4 at a minimum, but you still have to put in 8 hours a day. So
Exactly.
if you start at 10, you can go home at 6:30. But
Or
10
you
is the latest you can start.
Or you could come in at 8 and go home at 4. Yeah.
4:30.
4:30, yeah.
Half hour
technically.
for lunch.
Exactly, yeah.
Have you been Andy?
Run.
HR? Does Maya need a full size keyboard with the numpad? I know
You
for
don't really
Blend-
need the numpad,
Oh, okay.
but it can help. You need the numpad at the top. I think he's just talking about the one that's next to the arrow keys. You don't need that one.
Yeah.
No.
You tell us about the weather? I don't think any of us know about the weather.
That's up to our lighting artist.
Yeah.
I guess assuming you're speaking about the skyboxes, it's basically just a skybox system that's blending between different cube maps, and depending on the texture used, like I was kind of showing you how the light map is made based on this range. Lighting artist, like an artist that's specifically dedicated for lighting. And he's also a bit of a programmer, so he's kind of doing everything at once. Yeah, so based on the cube map for the skybox, basically also contains kind of a luminance and information. So when it changes, it alters around you. As for the weather, I guess you also mean the rain. That's something that's done kind of like between the graphics programmers, and it's a little bit of a tech artist thing to do as well. Like the raindrop effect on the windshield is a system made by the programmers, but we, the artists, have to set up the geometry for it in order for it to function correctly. So yeah, there's quite a lot of work involved in that as well. It's quite complicated. That's probably the most technical aspect of the game, I would say, in terms of the visuals at least. Where are you streaming from? We're currently located in Prague, Czech Republic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, our one and only office is here in southern Prague.
Yep.
That's where we all are.
We're growing.
We just
In the
sound
office.
American because I'm
Yeah.
Canadian and
I grew
He's-
up on the internet.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Is our canteen open to the public? Yes, it is.
What
But
about the other color channels for the light mask? Yeah, that's a good point. I completely glossed over that. So we use, like Joe Alex says, red for blinkers, green for brakes, etc. And alpha is for positional. In Photoshop here, you would basically, let's just group all of this together. If this is our blinker, which should be the R channel. Yeah, it's a good point that you mentioned this because I completely omitted it. We're just going to disable the G and the B on it. I know if we turn this off. Now our texture looks red, but it's actually grayscale because it's only just one channel information. So if you want to have a brake light or a high beam, low beam, whatever, basically use the G and the B channels. You can make a duplicate of the folder, do the adjustments necessary to that part of the texture, and just make sure that you're using a different channel for it. So that's how we separate. So in the end, yeah, that's true that the lamp mask is a RGBA color texture, but each part of the light only uses one channel. So yeah, in this case, the blinker would be red.
is it a different model for AI trucks?
Yeah, it's the same model, but it's simplified. So it's lower poly, less materials, and the interior is far, far, far more simplified.
Yeah.
So the truck that you drive as a player and the same truck that you see in traffic, they're they're technically not the same model in terms of quality.
Because Mark Verstappen's mentioning the W900, but I think when we reworked the W900, we didn't rework the traffic model. That's still the old W900.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say it in the chat. We do have a new tool for making LODs and shadowcasters faster using Houdini. So it's actually a project we're discussing internally. I'm not gonna say too much about it, but hopefully in the future we can start cranking out those types of models faster. Because we have a whole technical department that's working in Houdini, and they make tools for artists pretty much. And anything that can make your life as an artist easier, they're there to help us with that. So one of those things we developed is a HDA directly in Maya that's linking Houdini to Maya basically, and you just feed it a high poly mesh, and it will decimate it for you based on some parameters, and yeah, helps us a lot with some things.
Cool. Well,
yeah.
I think that's all we're gonna have for time for today. Thank you, Andy, so much today for.
Yeah, thanks for
showing us
having me.
how-
Again, apologies for some of the technical issues, but we'll have them resolved for next
It was
time.
still fun, and we got
Yeah.
more content for next time. So
That's true. It's a never-ending bumper story.
So thank you so much for joining us today. So remember to check out the previous episodes, which you can find on YouTube and on Twitch. And remember to stay tuned to all of our social media channels, our Instagram, our YouTube, of course, our SCS blog, for all the latest news about SCS, Euro Truck Simulator 2, and American Truck Simulator. Benny, thank you behind the scenes for your help today. Appreciate it. And yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's it.
Yep.
See you next time,
See you
guys.
next time.
Take care.